So I'm going to go through 5 different ways that we're using AI for CS2 and our clients. Hopefully, it can inspire some ideas for you on how you can operationalize AI for your company, or just show you some of the capabilities that are out there right now and real practical examples, stuff that's actually in production, working today, and is providing value, not just all this fluff or hype that you see online about the potential, but actually workflows or different ways that we're using AI that's providing value literally right now as we speak. So the hot new tool out there these days, as everyone knows, is Clay. We've been doing a ton of work with Clay with our clients over the last several months, and it really is unlocking a whole new capability of leveraging AI to do account research and enrichment. What I love about it is that, enrichment, the old school way of enrichment, you would maybe find firmographics, you would find maybe technographics, demographic information, and that's good, but that's, only takes you so far. There's so much more rich data out there on companies, like how many product lines they have, the reviews they have, different signals you can pull in. Are they hiring? Or other parts of the company that there's very unique to what you're selling, like who the company sells to, or the industries the company that you're trying to sell into is targeting. So many other data points out there that can help you refine your ICP and refine your messaging that's going to really land. And Clay just makes that so easy. So I'm going to walk through an example here to show you one of many different examples that I could have shown you on how you can leverage AI to get you that type of information at scale. Okay, so I'm in Clay here, and if you haven't seen Clay, it's table-based interface where you can pull data in and then add columns to do all sorts of stuff. So in this case, we're pulling data in from Salesforce. This company targets doctors' offices, and in particular for this one, dermatology. So they've got some accounts in Salesforce, they're putting them into this table. And then the AI step here is this first one. So Clay's agent to search the internet, find reviews on this company that is somewhat, criticizing the billing experience or paying a bill, because the company that we built this for, they sell billing software to doctors' offices. So they will go find the review, bring that back. They have another AI step in here, which is then formatting that review in a certain way. So you can get the response, the review URL, and then spit that out as a text column. And then they're pushing that back into HubSpot, and then from there into Salesforce. So now sales has this really rich data point of, like, okay, what is the issue with the billing experience that they can use in like sales outreach or on calls. Marketing has this data now in a field that you can then, they are actually already sending emails out with the review and like how they can help solve that. And the personalization there based on that review just is so much better than just saying like, oh, I saw you're a doctor's office, the dermatology, like we help, billing for those type of companies, right? This is what this unlocks, because in the past you could have hired like an army of SDRs or an army of interns to be able to do this, but that would have taken forever. It would have taken days to get that done. Going around Yelp, going on Google, finding a review, copying and pasting it, putting it into your CRM. Whereas now you set up the table, push in your accounts, this table will probably run in several minutes, and you're going to have all of that data now back into your CRM, back into your marketing automation platform to use. This is what this whole AI research enrichment use case unlocks at scale. All of this stuff that you might have done before, the research on data points that you just can't pull out of a Zoom info that's very specific to your company, your use case, and your ICP, that now you can have an agent go and do that, get it back into your tools to be able to leverage that however you want. And you can do this at scale. You can do this for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of accounts in minutes or hours, as opposed to days and weeks. And that is a major unlock on something that we didn't have available to us before. These type of capabilities were at our fingertips with tools like Clay. So this next one is all about what I'm calling these AI mini agents. So an agent is something that can, use AI to decide what it wants to do, perform actions. My definition of an agent I feel like it's somewhat different than some people you see on LinkedIn, where they're just saying like this workflow is doing this thing, and it's kind of just this automated step-by-step workflow that might have AI in it. It's not really an agent if it's not having to decide what it needs to do, handle like quite a nuanced task, and then perform an action, in my view. So I think that ultimately one day there's going to be incredibly complicated agents doing incredibly complicated things. I don't know how close we are to that yet. But for me, what I've been experimenting with recently is these mini, quite focused agents. So it's still in the definition of an agent, but it's doing something relatively simple. But that relatively simple thing completely unlocks a new capability or a new workflow that wouldn't be able to exist without it. So that's why I've built for CS2 mainly these internal mini agents that are part of a workflow, but performing something that is too nuanced that you couldn't have just built using a normal workflow tool. And I've been using NA10 for this, and I'm going to walk it through it. All right, so this is a workflow. So TLDR on this is basically we usually have about 30 clients at CS2 at any one time. Every Monday, we send an update to the client in a Slack channel or in their Teams or an email, but mostly Slack, that will have what we achieved last week, what we're planning to do this week, the major projects, any blockers or risks or anything like that. It's a really important thing that we do. So in the past, I'd have Claire on my team just double check across all of our clients that it got sent out. And if it didn't get sent out, send a reminder. And it'll take an hour or so every day to like monitor and send reminders and all that kind of thing. Not the best, most fun work for Claire every morning, but very important. And also, if Claire's not in, then it maybe doesn't happen and that doesn't go out. And it's a very important part of our customer experience. But the problem is, like, yes, you can integrate in pull data out of Slack to see if messages are sent. But then trying to match that data against the clients that we're expecting to see these alerts sent to was always really difficult, because like you can have like text in a Slack message or the channel the Slack message is in, and trying to marry that then to our contracting data in Salesforce for like, these are the active accounts and these are the ones that we should be seeing this. None of those values like perfectly match. And we could maybe go through an exercise of like trying to get like different codes and IDs and all of this stuff to try and figure it out. But then when you have a new client, you got to remember to do that. So instead, what we've built out, I'm not going to walk through all of this, but essentially what this is doing is collecting all of the Slack messages that have any type of the weekly update data in them. Then also going to Salesforce and looking to see the active contracts that we have. So then you will see, okay, we've got these 30 active contracts, and here were hopefully these 30 Slack messages that have this content in, because the content but maybe it's not, maybe one week there's only 28. And then send it to this agent. So in NA10 they have this agent node, where you connect up a model. So I've got OpenAI, ChatGPT, I think it's 4.0 on this one. And then, 4.1 mini. And then you also give it tools. So in this case, I've given it the tool of being able to pull rows out of a Google Sheet, which is where we're storing our Slack data, and then append rows into a Google Sheet. And then you give it tasks. So for this one, what I'm asking it is, okay, you're going to receive an account name. So in the previous steps, obviously, we've got the account data coming in from those contracts. Here's the account name. So say it's CS2. Now go pull all the rows out of this Google Sheet, which is all the messages that were sent out on Monday that have the client update in them, and check fuzzy match across like the content of the message, the Slack channel that it was sent in. Like some people will just send a screenshot in as proof from like Teams or an email. So like they might include the name of the client in there. So like look at the text in the message as well. Do all that fuzzy matching. If you find like, there's like CS2 Inc. and then CS2, like that is a true match. And then go back into this other Google Sheet and start documenting, okay, CS2, true, other client, false, and note down all of the different clients where you've got all the contracts. And then if you found the weekly update, and then if there's any missing, then send a Slack message. So the use case might not be completely something that you would do. It's kind of like something that CS2 needs. But the point is, you've probably got 100 different um, workflows that involve like maybe a manual step, or maybe you don't have the workflow because you knew you wouldn't be able to do it, because there's just this like very nuanced like part that just won't work. You can't just have like a simple automation tool to say like if this then that. Um, and because of that, maybe you haven't built the workflow. Maybe it's still a manual process for you. So I think these agents, whether you're using NA10 or another tool that can perform these kind of agentic tasks, completely unlock this whole new realm of, okay, now this can work, right? Like we wouldn't have been able to build this before, and now this can actually work. We've got this step that's being handled by the agent that's part of a wider workflow, saving Claire and my team over an hour every single week of pretty boring, tedious work that you can go do on something much more interesting and impactful for CS2. So even though this use case might not be exactly something for you, start thinking about what are that wish list of like, I wish we could automate this, and the reason why we didn't is because there's this part of it that's like really hard and complicated. Maybe there's a mini agent that you can put into just that piece of the workflow or automation to help it work. Okay, so next one is all around content creation. And one thing that Chrissy and I have been really trying to, figure out for ourselves is, where can AI help us with content? And we've landed on, we don't want it to write us content, because everything that we write really is just like truly our own voice. And I can see like our clients wanting like some sales emails and some content written for them by AI to scale. But for us, we really want it coming from us. And also the process of writing helps us become better consultants. And that's what we're selling, right? Like we're selling our point of view. We're selling all of these experiences and how we communicate them and the change management and everything around that. And so if we abstract that away, then we might lose, the ability to communicate these points. So we didn't want to have AI writing for us, but so we thought, how can we bring AI still into this? And one area that we landed on was around research for our content. So I'm going to walk through a workflow that we've got running today, which helps inspire ideas for us. Okay, so here's my workflow. And like I said, we're just trying to get some ideas, right? And one of the things we're really focused on right now is the interface between AI and go to market. So a lot of what we're trying to research right now, because we've got all of our talking points, we've got all the inspiration and ideas around everything else, and we're really trying to formulate our point of view, do lots of research, keep on top of the trends, keep on top of everything when it comes to AI and go to market. So every once a week, we're scheduling this. And what it's going to do, Exa AI, if you haven't checked out Exa, is pretty interesting for a few ways. Go check them out. But what this is doing is, first, we're going to search for articles with this query, new go-to-market research, new AI go-to-market research. And then what that will then give us back is a list of, I think we've got in here a maximum of 5. So yeah, 5 articles. It'll split that out. Then we go back here. Because it gives you just the URL, we then get to the URL and then it pulls all the content out. And then we send that data to OpenAI and we ask it to, you're this researcher, you've been given this article, give us just a summary of this and make it an interesting summary. And then append that to a Google Sheet. We get that. We then summarize it all up in one kind of formatted. We've got this code node, which basically formats it all for Slack. And then it sends us the Slack message once a week, which has, okay, here's the 5 top articles. Here's what they're about. We can then research more into that, like click into the article, check it out, or we can read the summary and decide, no, this isn't useful for us. But this is giving us, like, keeping us the pulse on content. So I think a lot of people, if you are posting on LinkedIn or if you're content creation do it for your company or an agency, like having just this steady stream of ideas sent to you, I think is really valuable. Beyond, just doing AI to write stuff for you, but like just getting those ideas on your doorstep every time, I think is really interesting. And then the next one on here, we have 2 workflows here in one. We use Fathom for our call recorder. And what this is doing is getting the transcript from Fathom and then sending it into this workflow, which then sends it to this AI node, which will then, based on our content pillar of trying to find the interface between go-to-market and AI, it will then summarize any part of that call that would be relevant for us. So like the client might be talking about something or a challenge that we're trying to solve for them. So we'll take that and then summarize that for us. And if there is some kind of AI relevant take on that, then it will append it to this Google Sheet that then me and Chrissy can go into whenever we want. This just keeps on adding a new row for every single call, and then get inspiration on, okay, these are some of the challenges that we're solving, like on the front lines with our team and our clients, or here's something that we're doing in a non-AI way, but here's a better way to do this. Like, not only is this helping us with content generation ideas, but we're able to see at scale all the things that our team, like, we're not working with every single client every day, myself and Chrissy. We've got 30 clients. We can't be in every single engagement, but we're getting all of that data in on what we're working on, the types of projects, and how AI could potentially do that better, be in the future version of this, and then document that for us to review. So it's keeping us really with our finger on the pulse, and it's really helpful. Okay, so number 4, this is all around preparing for sales calls. So I'm really our only salesperson who, if you're interested to work with CS2, you're going to end up speaking to me before we decide whether this is the right move to go forward, if there's a good fit. And it's like one of, as a business owner, one of so many things that I've got to do every day. So sometimes it's hard to remember, okay, we spoke to this client a few months ago and we're still actively discussing things with them, and we have another call coming up. Like, what did we talk about? What was the email communication? What should be the topic of this next call? And we use Fathom for our call recorder that has all of that, and you can ask Fathom, or you can see the AI summaries and stuff. But the issue with that is that when I have to go into there, it doesn't really have any other context around the deal information. It doesn't have any of our email history in there either. So what I like about HubSpot, which we use HubSpot for our CRM, we have Salesforce as well, but we use primarily HubSpot as our CRM and for our sales process. They have the assistant that you can just ask questions to. So I'm going to show you quickly one really quick example of this. So you can see here in HubSpot, in the assistant, where you can just ask questions of your data, I've just said, help me prep for a sales call with this company. And you can see it's got the company information, the contact information. It has the last meeting, what we talked about, the action items from that meeting, some of the topics. Then it has information from the recent emails that we've had together, and then previous meetings. So this is just such a low lift way, if you're using HubSpot for CRM, to say, how can I make AI, how can I use AI to be a little bit better? Okay, well, if you've got a sales call coming up, just ask the question and get that information. As long as you're piping, all these data sources in, it's going to give you a really good summary of where you're at. This part of the sales process and other parts of the sales process, like gathering signals and understanding which accounts to target, writing messaging for them, inbound follow-up, is probably the top 3 use cases for AI that we believe in at CS2, and also we see companies trying to implement. And there's so many different ways that you can implement this stuff. Parts of it you can do with Clay, parts of it you can do with other tools like Actively AI. Parts of it you can maybe just use HubSpot for. Parts of it you can build homegrown things. There's many ways that you can do it just like this. There's so much in here because sales has the 100 tab problem, right? They're for one deal, they might have 100 tabs open, and they have no idea, okay, what happened? What's the last conversation? What's the context? Why am I even speaking to this person? And they're trying to do all of this at scale, and to be able to give them the relevant context, the relevant information, the right targets, the right accounts to target, the right contacts, to save them probably where they spend 80 to 90% of their time is just figuring out data stuff, and then 10% actually engaging with buyers. If you can flip that, and now they're spending very little time because it's all just here at their fingertips, and they can really put the energy into just nailing that call or improving the sales process. That's going to really translate into conversion rate improvements, pipeline improvements, efficiency improvements, revenue improvements. So this is a really exciting one, and this is just dipping your toe into the water. But I wanted to show this one because it's like some of those other pieces are quite a big lift. The ones I talked about, like really figuring how AI can collect a lot of the data across the whole sales experience and really tee up everything for sales. But this, you don't even have to set anything up really. If you've got HubSpot CRM, just go start using it. Okay, the last one, I'll pop up something on the screen, but I'm not going to share my screen for this one. But so I think for personal use of AI, if you're in an ops role, formula building, whether it's like formula fields or in Excel or Google Sheets, is such an awesome use case because not only can you speed up just the development of the formula, but it can open up ideas for different visualizations or different ways to get the data presented or different things that you can do in a sheet that you didn't even know was possible. So like this example of this formula that I'm showing here, now this helps us understand where we are with client utilization on a client by client basis based on where we are relative in the month. So I never would have been able to come up with that formula. I mean, maybe I could, but it would have probably taken me days of just like researching stuff and trying and failing and trying and failing. But I got this working with AI and like with ChatGPT in probably under 30 minutes. And now it's like the way that we show where we are with client utilization across all of our clients. And it's got the ability to show you where we are in the month with that little marker in the middle, where we are for that client, the conditional formatting on the color. So we can say if we're pacing too hot, we're pacing too slow. And it's keeping us really on task, and something that I, yeah, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. I probably couldn't have built that formula. At least I wouldn't have been able to do it in any reasonable amount of time that would have made it worth it, because I would have just had to stop everything else for like 3 days probably. So you might not need this formula, although I'm sure like every company's out there's got some kind of need to be able to visualize where you are in the month to a goal. And maybe you want to do that in Salesforce, or maybe you want to do that in BI, or maybe what you do still want to do that in a Google Sheet. And so if you're doing it in the sheet or Excel, you can just chat to AI to give them the requirements, give a screenshot of your sheet so they knows what fields it's dealing with and the columns and rows, and then it will get you there. Like I've got so many examples of different things I've done in a Google Sheet formula that I never would have been able to do otherwise. And that really, if AI is going to do anything, there's so many things it can do in workflows, in go to market, but just like making us quicker and better at things that we're just doing every day. Like how often are we in sheets trying to do formulas? Like we're doing it all the time as ops people, and it can just nail it. One maybe that might not be as complicated as this one, or it can completely show you a way of doing this that you never would have thought of. So, and again, it's one of those ones that's there's no cost to this. Just start doing it. Okay, so that's it. That's the 5 different use cases. I've got a lot more, so I'm going to record probably a lot more videos on what we're seeing, what we're doing. Trying to just, again, like I said at the beginning, trying to make it less about like theory and what you might be able to do. I want to just keep showing like actually what we're doing, like the results. There's a lot of stuff that we're currently working on with clients that needs to be built out, been proven out, that will show you when it's ready. But I want to show like the actual stuff that's in practice. So I've probably got another like 5 to 10 of these examples already teed up. So I'm going to keep on churning out these videos. By the time I've done those, I'll probably have another 5 to 10. So I'm going to keep trying to put these out there. So let me know if you like this and this is useful. Hit me up in the comments here or on LinkedIn. I'm putting a lot more out on LinkedIn as well these days. So yeah, I'll keep it coming, because I feel like for me personally, I just want to know what people are actually doing. There's so much crap out there and hype about the future and what it might have for us. I do care about that, but what I care about more is show me something actually working. Show me the receipts. Show me this in practice. Like show me this in production, because you can talk a big game about AI can do this and that, and you should be worried or you should be doing this. But like is the person that's saying that like actually doing this? Is this actually in production? Like, is this actually working for a company? And you've built it and it's been running for like 2 months and it's showing you value. A lot of people out there, so I don't think that's true. So that we don't want to be that person. We want to talk about like actually what's working and something that you can implement right now because that's what we find the most useful. So let me know if you find that too, and we'll keep them coming.